Hello and welcome to another episode of Cyrils Brettspiele. My name is Nils, and today, in a nutshell, Rush and Bash from Quick Simple Fun and Red Glove. I think it's an Italian publisher from Italy, Red Glove. It has a seal of excellence from the Dice Tower on it, so that's promising, right? However, a lot of Quick Simple Fun games have that. What is in the box? You have a lot of these tracks here, so 12 tiles. A and B side, this is A and that is B side. You have a bunch of cards, these green cards Rush cards and the red ones Bash cards. I explained that later on. You have a bridge, you have a starting lab, you have these for the number of players, so it can be played from 3 to 6, sorry. You have a volcano, you have 6 player colors, you have little helmets and plastic cards. You have a couple of tokens, boulders, bombs here. Let's show you boulders and bombs for a second. Then you have hard life points and stars. You also have the speed tokens for an advanced version, and you have warp tiles for specific tiles, and you have 6 player boards and a ruler, a measurement stick. So what you're doing is you're building a track out of 6 of these pieces. I will show you that when I make a little cut. You always need tile number 1 that has the starting positions and the starting line here, but you can take this side or that side, whatever you prefer. Let's take this, and then you can take randomly these things. Side A or B, it's completely up to you. If you play it with side B, then you have sometimes these tiles here, and they need to be played with other tiles that have the same symbol. If you play side A, you don't have that problem at all. So then you build a circus here like this, for an example here, just a track, boom. So now we are playing without the B tiles. The B tiles are considered a little bit more advanced, but I explain all of them in a second. So now we have a circle here, so starting here and goes up around here. And technically this game is Mario Kart, the board game. So now you take the number of players, place them in the pole position, 1, 2, 3, 4. There is an advantage / disadvantage for being the start player. Obviously the advantage is you have less spots to go. However, you have a disadvantage because you start with just 3 green cards, and the last player, or number 5, would start with 2 reds and a green. Let's talk about the cards. So you have these Rush cards. Their value goes from 1, 2 or 3. That's the range. And you have a couple of symbols here. When you play a card, you always play a card from the top to the bottom. So this is an option. You can switch the lane. When you switch the lane, let's say that's a green player, you switch to an adjacent spot here, so you can swap the lane to here. So as you can see, you can even make a little bit of distance with that, and then simply after you move your card by 1 like this. If you have a 3, well that's good, 1, 2, 3, so you can go up to that. That is option 1. Option B is you have a toolbox. This means simply you repair and then move 3. This is another steering wheel. This is another repair card. This is lay down a bomb. What is a bomb? Simply you take one of these tokens, and before you move, because you always make it from top to bottom, you can in any adjacent area place a bomb, like here right in front of blue, and then you would move 2 spots, 1, 2. This one shoot a rocket, and like in Mario Kart, you shoot a rocket, but here it stays always on the same lane. Let's assume yellow would shoot a rocket here. It's in the middle. It would hit green. I explain hitting with bombs and missiles in a second. And last but not least, there should be a star card somewhere here. These star cards that allows you to advance your star level. What will happen if you hit an obstacle like a bomb? Simply, if you hit a bomb like this, blue gets on this bomb, the bomb explodes, each player surrounded by this bomb gets a damage. If you drive into another player, simply white, boom, bumped into green, green takes the damage and would be pushed 2 away. If there's another one, boop, you can have a chain reaction. But it's even getting more fun, like this. Let's assume in this case, white would hit into green, green would hit into blue, blue would hit the bomb, and all of that getting a damage from the bomb. So there are chain reactions, and that's what it's cool about the game. You also have this boulders. Once you enter one of these tiles, you roll for the next tile and place some of these boulders. Simply more areas where you can get damage. The red cards, the bash cards, are a little bit more powerful, and they are from 3 to 5. The symbols are the same, but they are from 3 to 5. And here comes this helper in play. When you play, for an example, with 5 players, number 1 and 2 can redraw green cards, and number 3, 4, and 5 redraw yellow cards. So number 3, 4, and 5, they are farther behind. They are drawing faster cards and can catch up in theory. That's how the game works. So you play one card, just one on your turn, except for you have a special ability, and then move up. You always redraw up to 3 cards, even if you lose cards or whatever, and then you redraw only the cards from this color, so you never mix again. What's cool though is the cars itself. The player and the cars, they have abilities, the star abilities. Once you're starting with 0, but every time you're dying, you get a star ability. On level 1, you can take a healing action. Okay, not as good. On level 2, you can play an additional card. That's really good. And on level 3, move forward 8 spaces and take some cool additional actions. As you can see, here are your life points. So you have here 3, 2, 1. Once you get down, you're dead, but then you're pushing up your token here. When you're dead, you're getting back to the red line. Let's assume blue is dying here, so he has get to the last checkpoint. If green dies too, he is going back as well. That's how it works, and that's how you do that. The level 3 star power is usually made move forward 8 spaces, which is great, but your stars always going back to 0. So I talked a lot about the rules, why there are a couple of things to do. And on the other side, by the way, there are more abilities as well, and I explain that in a second too. However, let's talk about these things here for a while. So what is my personal experience? I have to say I really like Mario Kart, and I always wanted to see a board game, Mario Kart transforming into a board game. And you have all these cool tools. You have a bridge, you have rockets, you have a volcano, you have a swamp, you have water. All of these cool things are built in the game, which I really like. So this, for an example, is a volcano tile, and the red ones, once someone is hitting this lightnings, you roll a die, and if you're on the red ones, you can get 1 or 2 damage if lava hits you. That's really cool, and you die like a fly, so you always die. You get a couple of these star points, and you're really happy if you use the number 3 star point, and you're going from there up to number 1. But the game takes roughly 45 minutes to an hour, even if the box said 30 minutes. So it takes a little bit longer than 30 minutes. And there are always things that's coming up, and you don't know exactly how to handle these situations. For an example, this is not a bad example. So there's one ability that allows you to drop down 3 bombs, and they explode immediately. Let's assume the player in front is here, very close to the finish line. So you have the finish line, and he needs just one more turn with a 1 or 2 card to get over the finishing line. So now the player with the 3 bombs lay down 1, 2, 3 bombs. Green is dying. Then, according to the rules, he has to go back to the last line, which is this one. Here has the last checkpoint, because this has no checkpoint at all. And there are other cards in it where no checkpoints are on it. And when you combine that, that's pretty brutal. So then you try to look up, where is the teleporter tiles? I have to figure out it's always the last tile, right? It's always the last tile. So these ones here, they have teleporters. So these ends are teleporters. And as you can see, there's no checkpoint on it. And here is no checkpoint on it as well. So if that would be here, that would be here. So people going from there all the way down. And then you have to figure out, oh, well, is there any rule in this game? So we had it for an example like this. So we had a teleporter and we had a checkpoint there. So we had to go back all the way to that line. And we had to try to figure out, oh, is there a rule for it? Is that probably a checkpoint? We didn't know at that point. So we figured out reading the rulebook, not explained. Another thing that is not explained in the rulebook is when you come around this way here and you see this green arrow, usually when you come from this area, it means you can slide into here and go down immediately without taking a turn. But does it mean when I'm going this way, I have to take a steering wheel to get that way? Is that the normal way? Is straight ahead the normal way? We looked up in the rulebook and it's not explained. So bottom line of all of that, you have a lot of fun, but it's a little bit too long for what it is. Taking you 45 minutes to an hour takes a long time, and then someone is extremely close to the finishing line and you bump him completely back. That's probably fun for a lot of people, but the person in last place, they wanted to end the game to not have the punishment any longer. Even if the catch-up mechanism is built in with the red cards, it doesn't feel. So in the last place you don't get the stars. If you are in the middle field, you're getting a lot of stars, and then you can get up to the 8 spots again, and you can get up these cards. So if you're in position number 3, you always get red cards, so you have the same speed as player number 5, but player number 5 has almost 0 chance to get stars. Why? He cannot die. Nobody can shoot at him. So, except for he dies on purpose, which is also stupid, right? Why should you die on purpose? So, the Mario Kart effect that the person in last gets always automatically this boost speed, that is not in here, or driving faster. That's not really built in. There is no difference between number 3, 4, and 5. And when you are in last position, you are really in the last position. It also has this when someone is here, so that is really frustrating when you go from there always back down there. I wish it would be a little bit more developed. I wish there would be a little bit more explained in the rulebook. Take these tiles as a good loop, or take this one, that's a really good loop. Make sure that on every single other tile is at least a checkpoint, so that you don't fall back, or this one is a checkpoint as well. Something explained in the rulebook. And all these little tiny details make it for me to a really rough game. I like the feeling of Mario Kart, I like the fight aspect on Rush and Bash, but I don't know that you play Rush and Bash from Quick Simple Fun for almost an hour, and you will have a couple of situations where you try to read the rulebook and you don't get the answer you want, and then it takes another 10 minutes even if you're frustrated. I mean, the green player in this case would be really frustrated if he looks like. In the rulebooks it's crystal clear that you go back to the last line, but what lane do you go? When do you switch the lanes? If you are here, are you warping there or are you warping there? Or when you're here, are you warping there, or there? That is not really detailed explained in the rulebook, and that determines where you come out, and that, no, I don't like that part on the game, and I think they should do it and fix it with the rulebook 2.0. But as it is right now, Rush and Bash is a lot of fun. Feels like Mario Kart the board game, but it feels like they stopped at 70% of developing the game and just leave it as is. That is my opinion on Rush and Bash from Quick Simple Fun and Red Glove Games. My name is Nils, and from Cyrils Brettspiele, and this was another In a Nutshell edition. See you next time. Until then, bye bye.